CNN contributor named Adeel tweeted that what the world needs today is a Hitler. And that shocked a lot of people that CNN would employ someone like that, but honestly, I wasn't surprised at all. This person has tweeted in the past, I think during the World Cup, had tweeted they're rooting for Germany because Germany gave us Hitler and he did a good job with those Jews. So CNN's known they've had this anti-Semite working for them for years. But like most liberals today, they don't see a problem with it. They claim they didn't know nothing about it. They'll look into it. That was their official response today because a tweet went out yesterday, Sunday. But this doesn't surprise me at all. You know, longtime Democrat Alan Dershowitz, who said he's never voted Republican in his life, actually campaigned for Obama, campaigned for Clinton. He said a few years ago, my party, the Democrat Party, has an anti-Semitic problem we need to deal with. The anti-Semites are no longer on the right. They're all on the left. This is Alan Dershowitz, lifelong Democrat. And I'm not surprised. You know, years ago I had a Facebook and I would argue with liberals all the time. And I was amazed at the hatred towards Israel from liberals. And I used to say to them, it makes no sense. Israel is the only place in the Middle East that gay people could live freely. I mean, you're supposed to be, you know, all in favor of women's rights and gay rights. Israel's the only place in the Middle East that a gay person is safe, that a feminist is safe. You know, most of the Middle East, women can't even drive cars or leave their home without their husband or their father. And in Israel, there's freedom. And these young liberals, it's the young ones, and even in the Democrat Party, you see, the Democrats have always equated the terrorist group Hamas with the democratic elected government in Israel as equal, which was not. Hamas is a terrorist organization equivalent to ISIS or Al Qaeda, but the Democrat leadership has always equated them as equal. But they never, you know, the leadership like Pelosi and Schumer, they never came out with anti-Semitic statements. But the young Democrats like AOC and Ilhan Omar, Tlaib Rashid, all these young Democrats that are taking over the party, that are running the party today, they're outright anti-Semitic in their tweets all the time. I mean, this is not surprising. And, you know, I used to debate these liberals on Facebook, and I'd be like, you know, Israel's the safest place for a Muslim in the Middle East. I mean, Iran throw gay Muslims off of roofs. They burn them alive. Israel is the safest place for a Muslim in the Middle East. Yet, all you guys on the left who are saying, you know, we need to be more diverse and inclusive, you hate Israel. And they can never give me an answer. They would give me ridiculous answers like, well, because they bomb little kids and hospitals and schools. And what they're referring to is Israel gets attacked, they attack back. Unfortunately, the cowards in Hamas hide in schools and hospitals. But the Israeli government warns them, we're bombing. They actually tell them, we're bombing this building. We're like, what just happened recently, there was a political disagreement about housing, okay? And of course, terrorists do what terrorists do. They start lobbing bombs, 1,500 rockets, indiscriminately, killing Jews and Arabs in Israel. Israel had its right to defend itself, so they lobbed the bombs back. And when they realized that they were coming from hospitals and schools, they said, evacuate these buildings because we're destroying them. This is why when they destroyed that news media building, none of the news media guys got hurt because they told them we're bombing that building. But the Marxist media and the Democrats make it seem like Israel's the bad guy. But just think about this. Why does the left hate Israel so much when they're the only democracy in the Middle East? Because the left hates democracy. Just like in America, where they're trying to turn people against America, and these college professors are telling these kids America's a racist, evil country. They're telling these same kids who are now in Congress, like AOC and Ilhar Omar, they're telling these same young kids that Israel is racist and genocidal. It's backwards, it's baffling, but this is what's going on. But if you notice, when Trump was president, we didn't have this going on. What's the difference? It's very simple. When Obama was president, Israel was on fire. Constantly this was happening. Then Trump was president, we had peace in the Middle East. In fact, they said there could never be a peace deal in the Middle East without the Palestinians signing on to it. There was one peace deal in 50 years before Trump. Trump had 4 peace deals signed. This is historical. This is a huge achievement, one of the greatest achievements by any president ever. And according to Middle East experts, if he was reelected, there was probably about 4 or 5 more peace deals about to be signed. And the reason, and this is the same reason that the Palestinians weren't attacking the Israel, is because Obama was giving money and aid to Iran, which is a sworn enemy of Israel, which was giving that money to Hamas to attack Israel. Trump took that money away. Iran had no money to fund the terrorists in Palestine. What was one of the first things Biden did? Start giving money back to Iran. What did Iran start doing? Giving money to the terrorists. So again, they're attacking the only democracy in the Middle East because these people hate democracy. So this is not an equivalent fight. These are terrorists that hate freedom attacking Israel. Israel is very tiny. They're surrounded by enemies. And the Democrats are on the side of their enemies. They are not on the side of Israel. Trump was a great supporter of Israel. They even named towns after Trump in Israel because they knew it. Now, Israel is scared. But Israel has a secret. They have nowhere to go. They will not lose. The team that can't lose doesn't lose. And they can't afford to lose. So Israel will do whatever they have to do to defend their people. And us Christians need to pray for them. And we need to pray for peace, but we're not going to have peace if the Democrats keep funding Iran. And we're not going to have peace if these Democrats keep feeding the minds of young people with hatred towards Israel. Israel's been hated from the very beginning. And, we say we remember the Holocaust and pray that it never happens again. That's why we got to remember it. Yet these Democrats are feeding the hatred and the anti-Semitism in the world today. So politically, the Democrats need to be defeated. They are too dangerous when they are in power. And, God loves Israel. The church came from Israel. Our father Abraham, Moses, these are our ancestors. If you're a Christian, you need to pray for Israel. So God bless, stay Catholic, and stay informed.